कालकालाय विद्महे कालातीताय धीमहि तन्नो कालभैरव प्रचोदयात्। ओम हिंगुळे परमहिंगुळे अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवे श्री हिंगुळांबिकाय नमः। Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another episode of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava. Today we will speak about one of a topic which is most commonly being understood and also misunderstood in Sadhana Paddhati, especially in any kind of a sadhanas. If we talk about Bhairava Sadhana, from a Bhairava Sadhana perspective, this is very deeply rooted, as many of them, especially when it comes to the initial stages of the sadhana, they normally feel this. But in Nada Sampradaya, it has a beautiful connection and it has the Vingadana. It has the, mainly it has been distributed into the different segments where actually we need to know. It is about the Ahaṅkāra, ego, I maker. Everyone knows that actually ego, when it comes to, most of them know that actually it's a false identity. False identity of what? Me, mine, and identifying something around us or within us, thinking that it is of me or mine, which is actually part of it. Siddha, Siddhanta, Paddhati. These are the three categories which actually what it calls from a Nata Sampradaya perspective. This is actually somewhat like very clearly documented when it comes to the 5 characteristics moments when it comes to the ego. So basically in Nata Sampradaya, ego is identified into 5 categories like Abhimana. Abhimana is commonly known today with everyone. Like if I want to talk about ego, everyone know that it is actually I am somebody. I have an identity. I am a so and so person. I work for so and so company. I am actually I have reached somewhere to the summit or to the peak of the mountain or something like this. This is the pride, or what you call it as a self-importance, or what they call it as superiority over the feeling what they have it. Abhimana. It is like somewhat like when it comes to the sadhana paddhati, Guru Gorakhanatha very beautifully tells this is one of a base. It is somewhat like actually people whoever, maybe you can connect this, people whoever tells that actually I have done so many of Lalita Sahasranama, Namavali. They will also tell that actually I have done few lakhs of japa of Bhairava or Makali or any of the Dasha Mahavidyas. Or also they tell that actually I have received a diksha. I have received a diksha. And also they will talk about I understand the tantra. I know about the tantra, what particularly people tantra talks about it. But also they also share that I have experienced something that other have not. This is the base of the Ahaṅkāra, what we call it as me. I am somebody. I'm trying to project something that actually I'm something. There is second types of Ahaṅkāra which is called as in Madhya. Madhya is like, does not, it is somewhat like this. This is mine. Possessiveness. I hold this. For example, people have a pride today, very merely possessing. I am from so and so Guru. My Guru has told this. This is what my Guru is. He is my Guru. My Devata. My lineage. I don't want to talk one particular lineage. They only talk about that actually. That particular parampara is everything. My mantra. My own path. Here it is my experience. The Nada understand goes much more deeper here. Even something like, apparently, like I can call it as sacred, can become an extension of mind. This is actually the sukshma, what we call it as Ahaṅkāra, in the second stage. There is a third something called as Mama Sukha. Mama Sukha means, as everyone knows, Sukha means happiness. Ego claims pleasure on the spiritual. It may be like a spiritual joy as its own position, what it holds. Like I can call it as like I have like a beautiful meditation which has been given by, like I felt the divine sitting there. Actually, I was able to feel the divine, and I was able to feel the presence of a divine when I was sitting in front of him. People also tell that actually, like I received a vision, the vision from somewhere, some different galaxy or a different spiritual ayama, where they were able to receive that. And also nowadays the common word is like I experience bliss. People talk about the word as a bliss. I have experienced this. See that here, I'm not trying to tell that is false, but here the experience may be the genuine, but the mind immediately appropriates it as only as mine. This is what actually the third stage of Ahaṅkāra is all about. The fourth is about Mama Dukkha. Mama Dukkha is actually like, as the name tells, my suffering is the most in this existence creation. People who ever come in the Bhairava Anugraha, they talk about it. Mama Dukkha, I have this problem. I have a problem of my husband. I have a problem of my spouse. I have a problem of my children's. I have a problem of money. I have a problem of actually my neighborhood. I have a problem with my boss. This is equally important as whatever I told as three. But here the ego does not only possess the pleasure, but it possesses even the pain also. It is somewhat like, why is this happening only to me? I am the sufferer. People are only troubling me. It is my suffering. I am the only one who is suffering on this. Prarabdha, people talk about karma theory, and when they talk about it, they tell that it's my karma. I am supposed to do this. They also tell that actually it is my problem. Mine is attached to it. The identity here can become a very close attached to the suffering. Mine get identity to the attachment of the suffering. That even suffering becomes part of their oneself, as what they are trying to define them. That actually it is mine. I am always in problem. I am always in trouble. I have a trouble in surrounding me. People around me annoy a lot. Here, as I told, the identity is getting attached to that suffering. But there is a fifth kind of what we call it as Ahaṅkāra, which is called Mamimedam or Mama Idham. Mama Idham is very beautiful, that somewhat like actually everyone need to know. Like this is a commonly used even for a 1-year kid, where parents try to teach the kid as what they have. This has not actually been, the human actually learn from their lineage. It has been learned from their parenthood. What is that? Mama Idam, like this is mine. In childhood days only we'll try to teach it. This particular toy is yours. This particular school is yours. This is particular, what we call it as, this belongs to you. Even if when the parent give in a siblings, they give any kind of a food or a cloth or something, they tell that this is only for you, this is mine. This is actually the parenthood actually able to feed them, and they learn this. And this is somewhat like actually it grows up and it will become like, this is mine. This represents mine. Or this part is mine. Portion. And suddenly, eventually, when it comes to the higher scale, that particular ego will go into such a level that even after a couple of years, when there is a disaster or something like property dispute or something, this ego get identified for very, very, very long years. And suddenly when the world get divided into like I, me, or not mine, the division is the center to the what we call it as a function of Ahaṅkāra. This is what actually Guru Gorakhnatha was able to tell. See, but here it is a deep, from a Natha Sampradaya perspective, it is very simple. They tell about kill an ego. Kill the ego. Ahaṅkāra is a part of the inner instrument, and that what we call it as the issue is who is trying to govern the whom. It is somewhat like the yogi aim to bring to the Ahaṅkāra, like under the mastery, and that particular instrument of a yoga, rather than actually becoming the master of that yogi. This is why in Natha Sampradaya it is so powerful in the context, something like I have no ego. So basically when people tell that I don't have ego, they normally have ego on their body, they have ego on their prana, they have ego on their mind, they have ego on their discipline, they have ego on their awareness of what they are trying to do. It may be yoga, sadhana, japa, mantra, tapa, yajna, whatever it is. I stands everything. You can surrender your process until it retain. Everything is I. But here, Guru Gorakhnatha actually divides much more this ego into a different way. These five are commonly known, but there is something much more subtle. He divides this actually like a 10 major verticals what we need to know about from a Ahaṅkāra perspective. First is somewhat like, but how to quit this Ahaṅkāra? Maybe I'll try to give you a glimpse of it. But let me just tell you, Ahaṅkāra, when it comes to, it is first is about Deha Ahaṅkāra. I am this body. The identity is attached to the appearance, is about the strength, it is about the age, it is about the physical experience when it comes to the sadhana. Deha Ahaṅkāra. But there is one more step actually when you go into that core. It is like not from bottom to high or high to bottom. It is like divided as a segments. Deha Ahaṅkāra. The second comes actually like jati. Many of them would be knowing about this. This is called social identity. This is who I am. I am from such community. It may be like they talk about so, and they are pride about their community, telling that they are clinging about their family, telling that I belong to so and so family. It may be in the puja vidhana, it may be samskara, it may be even by the music also. Because the position what they hold from a community angle perspective create that something called false thought of them being born in it. Jati, Ahaṅkāra, social identity. It is somewhat like a social position what we have it, or a background what we have it. It may be like a spiritual background, political background, or whatever the background as whatever comes in your mind, or whoever you feel that actually this particular person, or it may be me also. Social identity, jati, brahmana, Vaishnava, any kind of identity what people talk about it, Kshatriya, all of this will come into a picture. There is third kind of a identity which Guru Gorakhnatha talks about is about Jnana Ahaṅkāra. What is that Jnana Ahaṅkāra? I know that it is the Ahaṅkāra of the knowledge. Even in the family this happens, even in the husband and the wife this problems arises. Husband tells that actually I know everything, even wife also tells I know everything. Jnana Ahaṅkāra, they have read something or someone has told. Nowadays it is very easy to listen some podcast about some topic and start preaching about that particular topic to everyone around in the home or at the people around you. Jnana Ahaṅkāra. Whatever the Ahaṅkāra I am trying to try to understand. Are you trying to fit in any of that? Are you trying to fit? When it comes to the third part as a Jnana Ahaṅkāra, it is about I know Tantra, I understand Tantra. Many people, especially in the Sadhana Paddhati, they talk about word called as Tantra. Tantra. Experiencing the Tana. This self is what actually the Tantra is about. People also talk about the ego of knowing the scriptures. Ego of something called as in philosophies. Ego of something known, clubbing everything together and combinedly telling us astrological event or astrological perspective, telling that actually these are what it is. Or it may be even the mantra, Jnana Ahaṅkāra. You may fit in anyone you feel that actually they fit into that bar. Jnana Ahaṅkāra. See what exactly they are trying to say, how exactly they are trying to say. Is there any kind of a bhava which is truly involved in it? Or their eyes is talking something, mouth is trying to say something great. You need to try to understand. The energy frequency you will be able to clearly identify what exactly they are trying to explain. It may be like few people have read something from a different community they come into. They read about something, they think that actually they know about this particular community and they start dominating that community, telling that I know much more better than you. It is not about the problem with the individual. I am trying to talk about the individual who is thinking that I possess that Jnana Ahaṅkāra. The fourth actually is called as an Āchāra Ahaṅkāra. Practices collectively. People tell that actually, for example, let me take an example of Bhairava Sadhana. One particular sampradaya has taught one particular paddhati, telling them this is how actually the sadhana, paddhati or mandala, vinyoga, all the status need to be done. But they come, they try to mix up all the things because they are window shopping. They are going all around all the gurus, market gurus. They try to feel that actually this particular guru's word topic is very, very interesting. Let me understand from him and let me know exactly what he is trying to say. They go there, they do certain window shopping, 1 or 2 months or 1 or 2 months they'll stay there and they will think that actually, no, this particular paddhati is not belong to me because I have such much more knowledge than what he is trying to teach. He is a babysitter. This is called something called Āchāra Ahaṅkāra. The practice correctedly. My disciple is pure. It is somewhat like he teaching and I am trying to practice this. And that particular discipline, whatever he has taught me, that is particularly pure. In Tantra, there is nothing called pure or impure. I believe you would be knowing it. You are very knowledgeable. You would be knowing much more better. But here, it talks very, very sukshma. It tells that actually my practice is much more authentic. Authentic directly from someone, actually from the cosmos itself. Parampara, when it transfers from one guru to other guru, from one guru to the shishya, and from that shishya becoming guru again to the transferring to the next lineage, there would be something externally which is being added with his jnana, jati, or what we call it as Ahaṅkāra. Achara gets mixed up. That is the reason Shankaracharya actually made a very big, prolonged marathon across the entire India, parikramana, such that actually the jati is being controlled. This particular identity is being controlled. But when it comes to the Bhairava Sadhana, try to understand. The practice is being connected as one particular person, from one particular person or one particular, what we call it as kula, or what we call it as jati. Āchāra Ahaṅkāra is very, very dangerous, I can call it as. All these things are actually, like I can call it as, depends upon the degree of what we have it. Everyone, most of, would be having it. But the degree varies. The fifth is something called Mantra Ahaṅkāra. This is very, very beautiful. Everyone would be actually able to connect this. What is this Mantra Ahaṅkāra? Someone has taught, some guru has actually taught him a mantra. He thinks that actually feeling very, very special because one is possessing or practicing that particular mantra. You may have heard many of this so-called social influencers. It may be like any kind of a people, especially who talks about the spirituality in the social media today. They tell us, this particular mantra, I have done a Jagrita. I own this, I possess this particular mantra. If I recite this mantra, this will actually create a problem in your life. Many people talk about this. They tell that actually I have done a siddhi of that particular mantra. Here, mantra Ahaṅkāra is what which is makes you much more vulnerable. There is something called sixth Ahaṅkāra, which most of them in the spiritual path would be knowing this. Sādhana Ahaṅkāra. I am a great sādhaka. My guru, as I told you, Deha Ahaṅkāra, Jati Ahaṅkāra, Jnana Ahaṅkāra, that leads to Achara Ahaṅkāra, and when it comes to Mantra Ahaṅkāra, people think that actually I have done a Jagrata of it, which leads to Sadhana Ahaṅkāra. They think that all of these three, or all of these five, is actually part of me. I am a greatest Sādhaka. Even person who is trying to teach, maybe his experience is very, very low. My experience was very, very high. When I sit, I get actually without even... This was actually one of a story of a Totapuri Maharaja. When he went to the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, maybe he being his guru, taught about him about the Tantra, taught him about how exactly he need to do the Achara, Vichara, Mantra, Japa, everything. But when everyone called to actually to give a bhoga to Ma Kali, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa went inside and directly told, sitting next to Ma, rather than doing any kind of a japa or doing any kind of what we call it as Deha Ahaṅkāra, Jati Ahaṅkāra, Jnana Ahaṅkāra, Achara Ahaṅkāra, even doing any kind of a mantra Ahaṅkāra, he just went, sat next to Ma, told Ma, please come, please have food. And he was able to feed the food directly to the Ma Kali, because he did not possess all of this. Then Totapuri Maharaja finally accepted that he has dropped all those egos. Sadhana Ahaṅkāra, counting the malas, counting the days, counting the mandalas, identifying with the authenticity of the particular practice, telling that he teaches the best, you teach worst, because I do not experience anything from you. Because here they think that it is about their personal experience which makes them great in the sadhana. And they quietly build something called the identity around them completely from that particular process of sadhana. This is what actually Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was able to teach. Ahaṅkāra. And that particular sequence taught us very clearly. It is not about the malas, counting malas mechanically. It is not about the number of days sitting. If the days was been counted by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he would have never become so much close to Ma, where actually he is sitting there. If he calls, mother used to come and talk to him. Mother used to come and sit him. Mother used to come and do a nurturing like a kid to that particular connection with that particular sadhaka. Mandalas, counting mandalas, telling that actually I have done this, next time I am going to do this, I am going to do this. Listen to your own heart. Very sukshma. You feel that there is a pride in that saying that particular statement. Even if you are not saying to anyone, it may be you are sharing to one of your subordinate, or you may be what you call it as Guru Bhai, Guru Behan, or it may be like even with a a person, unknown person, telling them that actually I have done so much mandala of the particular Devi, and I have done so much mantra japa of this particular Devi. 1 lakh japa, 14 lakh japa I have done. Sadhana Ahaṅkāra. Have you clearly noticed? Is this with you? Next comes something called very, very profound. Whoever is in this sadhana paddhati, especially Bhairava sadhana paddhati, they would be experiencing something great in one or the other stages of the sadhana. This is called Anubhava Ahaṅkāra. I have experienced something great which no one in this existence have experienced it. Especially someone is trying to teach something in the group, in a set of a group, and he is trying to tell the vision what I have got is really different. People who are following him, because they are in the line, they are in actually the start of their Dehaṅkāra, Jati Ahaṅkāra, Jnana Ahaṅkāra, and they have also practiced the mantra also. And in that sadhana paddhati, when Guru is trying to tell, I have a vision, they want to also experience that vision, that particular light, that particular sensation. Today's social media which talks about, very, very famous about word as Kundalini. And many people talk about, especially, I get a dreams where actually Bhairava or Ma will come and speak to me. They talk about energetic experiences. That energetic experiences in such a way that even the, what we call it as like today's scientific movie also you will feel that actually that is very low. Such a way of anubhava they will be able to express you. And they also talk about something called samadhi. Nowadays this has become very, very common word. Like they tell that actually I am in a samadhi, I will be in a such a state after this particular sadhana. Today I will be in a samadhi and I will be in a mauna vrata. Anubhava Ahaṅkāra. Fasting. Let's take an example. If one particular festival is trying to come, as we are in the mid of Shravana, you would be knowing it. Like in Shravana, many of them actually will be doing the fasting, and in the fasting they'll do one meal, they'll skip it, and they'll, Shiva, I have skipped this meal today. I need to get this anubhava. Think whether you have come into such kind of a compromise or such kind of a discussion with him, thinking that actually I'm going to give you this, I need to get you anubhava. Making them part of one's identity is very, very beautifully, which is being spoken about Guru Goraknath, about saying Anubhava Ahaṅkāra. But the next stages of the Ahaṅkāra is somewhat like actually people who go into the highest level of the sadhana. Here they something talk about Siddhi Ahaṅkāra. Maybe you have come across many movies or many kind of serials, episodes, or many kind of people who talks that actually they will do like this and they will try to give a Rudraksha. They will do like this, then they will give the Vibhuti. They will do something like this and they will actually try to give something. A true magicians. We don't know. Like it may be like few of the information which has been recorded from our gurus telling about certain particular sequence, but they have never clinged about the identity. Here they want to create an identity. Siddhi Ahaṅkāra. I have attained that particular stage where no one in my family, no one in my friends, no one in my circles, no one in my community, no one in my, what we call it as Guru Bhai, Guru Behan, Sadhana, Achara, any kind of an Achara which I am trying to follow. No one has done this. Siddhi Ahaṅkāra. They have attained it. I feel that actually I have attained this particular stage where I feel very special about myself. Perhaps one has the most dangerous, what we call it as, about the forms. Like talking on a spiritual experiences. Anima Siddhi, Garima Siddhi, Mahima Siddhi. Ability to make ones as superior. They think that they have achieved it. This is what actually Guru Gorakhnatha tells. Siddhi Ahaṅkāra should be dropped. You are not gained anything. Here, next comes the identity where most of the Sādhaka, Bhairava Sādhaka talks about this. Tyaga Ahaṅkāra. They tell that I have renounced. Especially when they go to the Char Dham, people, especially in the Shravana or any of the months, people talk about I have left something great. It was very favorite for me, but for particular days I have left this. Tyaga they have done. I don't know what Tyaga they have done it. They may not be liking the particular fruit or a particular vegetable. They think that actually that vegetable they have dropped it. Tyaga they have done. Whenever they go to the Kashi and they come back, they tell that this is particular Tyaga I have done. I really don't know. Here Guru Gorakhnatha talks about something really great about Tyaga Ahaṅkāra, that I don't need what ordinary people is needing in it. Something great I want to prove in a discussion, in a talk, in a community, what we call it as, especially in a jati, jnana, achara and mantra, when everything has been combined, after people thinking that actually I have got particular great experience, anubhava I have got, particular siddhi also I am able to get it from this particular sadhana, they come into something terms called as Tyaga Ahaṅkāra. I give money to the people who are in need. I give, for example, in astrology also the people talk about this. They tell that actually today I have donated something to the cow. Today I have donated so and so to the particular community, to the blind school. Very boldly they talk. I have done Tyaga. Tyaga of what? They feel that actually portion of their food they have tried to give to someone. There is a beautiful story which talks about it. Tyaga, last time also I have spoken about this particular story, telling that Tyaga is something that even if you don't have it, you try to give it to them. As Shabari waited for Rama, as Kuchela, wife, what has sent that particular, what we call it as Avalaki to Mahakrishna. Few grains of avalaki which was being given, puff rice which was being given, he took all the way to Mahakrishna, and Krishna was able to feel the love what he has bought. That is true Tyaga. Tyaga doesn't mean that I am trying to give something. मैंने कुछ दे दिया हमारा नेबर्स को कि एक्चुअली मेरे पास बहुत ज़्यादा था, मैंने दे दिया उनको. Feel pride about it. And when they go, as I told you, when they go to some particular temple or before they do any kind of a mandala sadhana, they tell, I do a tyaga of this. Whom they are trying to give a tyaga? I did not need what ordinary people experience want to be needed. This is what called as a tyaga of their experience. And this tyaga they take to the next level, telling very beautifully that today when me and my wife or when me and my husband were trying to talk, I dropped my anger. I did a tyaga. Great beings. I just bow down to their. See, tyaga is what not about the position of a person, of the identity. It is somewhat like, as I told you, Kuchela's story. Tyaga is what actually that truly means. Tyaga which will make you experience the divine within you without even expressing what exactly that was. That is true Tyaga. Maybe you have done it 100 times, maybe 99 times you have done it. but one time you are trying to portray that actually you have done Tyaga. This is also called Dehaṅkāra. Every Ahaṅkāra revolves around a different types of actions, but in a different situations. The one more Ahaṅkāra comes. Guru Gorakhnatha talks about this as finally, as this is what it is. The 10th, the final one is about Guru Ahaṅkāra. Nowadays you have seen that he is particular of my guide. It may be like particular sampradaya, it may be of particular devate, it may be particular form of Devi or Devatas. They tell that actually I belong to that particular parampara. He is my Guru. The identity of being a teacher. They also start telling that actually when they even do prayer, let me just tell you, there are certain Guru Vichara, what we call it as Guru Parampara Vicharas. It is not so openly that actually everyone comes and talks. Have you ever heard Shankaracharya coming and talking about his Gurus on any of the forum? Forget about that. Today's social media has a famous, what we call it as a greatest Gurus. When it comes to Isha Foundation, Sadguru, have you ever found him telling that Guru, I am the guide? Take even Ravi Shankara, Swami Ravi Shankara, especially in Bangalore, he is like art of living. Beautiful Guru. See, these Gurus are actually very unique in their own stages. They never say that I am a guide, I am a Guru. You need to listen. We belong to so and so parampara. I am a healer. Nowadays this has become very, very problematic in the social media. They start telling, they tag themselves, even the social media or in the Instagram, they have a handler called as actually they are healers. Great. They call themselves as a Guru. They tell that actually my Shishya. Guru. Have you ever seen these great masters talking something like, I am a Guru and they are my Shishyas? Listen to them very carefully. Listen to their hundreds of videos. But listen to the nowadays so-called people who are proclaiming themselves as a Guru. Again, I'm not trying to differentiate anyone. You try to identify, you try to distinguish between your identity, the person next to you and the person you follow it. Is there any kind of a sequence which is juggling between any of these Ahaṅkāras? Spiritual authority. Especially in particular temple, if you go, they talk about that actually this particular, we belong to so and so Guru, we are ready, where ahead to go inside and do any kind of a performance of actions. Try to understand, do you come across someone called I am a Guru, I am a healer, I am like being a teaching this particular paddhati, I am a spiritual authority? If someone is trying to talk, it may be you or someone who you knows, or you may actually come across, or you may be following him. Anubhava, your Anubhava, their Anubhava may be very great. Their Siddhi may be very, very, very great. Their mantras, Ahaṅkāra, may be very, very, very profound. Their, what we call it as Jnana Ahaṅkāra, may be at the peak. They may be having a very beautiful knowledge about anything, everything. They may be of particular lineage, talking about jati, society identity, and Deha Ahaṅkāra. Any of this, juggling between any of them. This particular 9 things, whatever I have said, Ahaṅkāra, is there, this particular identity falls in that any of the sequence. Guru Ahaṅkāra. See, here again, there are certain masters who also talk about it, especially in Nanda Sampradaya. It is not, few of the masters actually also have identified, depending upon this today's era, or what we call it as the, it may be millennials, or it may be Gen Zs, or Gen X, or Gen Y. Here, people whoever are trying to experience the divine, they may be having juggling between all these kind of ahaṅkāra in oneself in one or the other way. In this particular 10, there are 5 which has much more profoundly connected. Guru Goraknath talk about those 10. But 5 is actually what we call it as a glimpse of those 5 of those 10 which is making you to understand something which is very, very dangerous. People talk about lineage ahaṅkāra. What we call it as a lineage is a very supreme. They tell that I belong to this particular parampara. They talk about we belong to a certain guru, certain lineage, and they talk about that actually this particular lineage is everything. Turning lineage into the badge of superiority rather than responsibility. I pause here, try to understand. Do you or anyone of your known is trying to portray this? I'm not going to say much more in this particular thing. You try to identify and try to tag your own versions to this. The second comes of the gist of the 10 is actually what we call it as Bhakti Ahaṅkāra. Same thing. Jnana Ahaṅkāra is different. Bhakti Ahaṅkāra. People try to say nowadays, I love Bhairava. He is my Bhairava. He is my favorite. He is my brother. He is my sister. He is my father. Bhakti Ahaṅkāra. Even devotion can become a comparison. He is very close to me. Bhairava is very close to me. But for my wife or my husband is very, very far. Because they don't do a japa. My devotion is very pure than him. My devotion is much more profound than him. I have done lot of mantra japa of a Bhairava which has made him much more closer. Bhakti Ahaṅkāra. I love my identity or I love my deity. Both are same. So even for the second gist of the 10, I'll leave it here to make your own version and experience to this. Are you part of it? Bhakti Ahaṅkāra. The third gist of that actually 10 is something called Vairagya Ahaṅkāra. People have spoken about this very, very high in today's social media. They talk about Vairagya. Detachment. They talk about detachment. Especially when you go with a problem, telling that actually we have a relationship issues, and they talk about the detachment. Vairagya. See, this is a paradoxal ego of being very, very proud of one's detachment. It may be like so-called. Nowadays, social media actually is trying to tag this. Single mother. Vairagya Ahaṅkāra. They want to create their detachment as their identity. Detachment of what? Not from the ego, from the situation. Even here, I pause. I'll make you to think, are you, or any one of you around, is being in this particular way? Vairagya Ahaṅkāra. Spiritual master in social handles. Healers. Kundalini yoga instructors. Nowadays very trending. Reiki masters. I pause here. I'll leave it to you. Do you feel you or any one of you are part of this something called Ahaṅkāra? The fourth out of the complete gist of Guru Gorakhnatha, what he has given, fourth of gist is something called very, very pure. It is somewhat like Mama. It is Mama Ahaṅkāra. It is somewhat like actually moral. It is somewhat like a purity ego. I am spiritually pure. I am very special. Judging others because their lifestyle is low. They have problems in their life. They actually have a troubles in their life. They are going through with the hardship, thinking that actually he has done a very bad karma. So only he is not pure. I am very pure because I am very, very fine. Choice, I go here. This Guru is very, very pure. He is impure. He is actually like corporate Guru. He don't teach. He only actually tells, which already I know. IITians, if you go to Isha Foundation or if you go to the Art of Living, forget about those. Even if you go about ISKCON, the greatest consciousness of Krishna, you may find highest IITians actually part becoming a bhikshus there. But here also, I am a spiritually pure because I choose what I need. Or practice appears like I do a practice, but it is a less spiritual with this particular Guru, with this Guru and this Guru. This has experience less. So I talk about pure, what we call it as purity in the ego, moral. Maybe the last one which comes about the greatest topic which everyone need to know. Out of those all 10 which Guru Gorakhnatha was able to tell, let me just reiterate. Dehaṅkāra, Jati Ahaṅkāra, Jnana Ahaṅkāra, Āchāra Ahaṅkāra, Mantra Ahaṅkāra, Sādhana Ahaṅkāra, Anubhava Ahaṅkāra, Siddhi Ahaṅkāra, Tyaga Ahaṅkāra, Guru Ahaṅkāra. I know about all Ahaṅkāras now because out of those 10, we have spoken about 4 which is very, very essential. Gist of it, whether I fall or not, or anyone of me surrounding fall or not. You are better who can calculate what it is. The last is about surrenderness ego. People talk about this whenever we have been asked, especially when you go to the certain sadhanas, especially in a Shiva sadhana, it is the Guru Diksha which is being asked. Even this happened even in the Mahabharata, even in the Ramayana also. Surrenderness ego. I have surrendered. One of my subtle level of consciousness I am going to surrender to you. The moment the mind say, I am completely surrendered, think, ask yourself, who is claiming that surrender? Here I'll pause because that is a very huge topic about the surrender. Connecting to the next episode, we talk about how exactly to come out of this particular all Ahaṅkāras. But let me before, as you know, like actually nowadays the video length is going very high. People are actually worried about seeing the videos also, thinking that actually this is like, okay, coming back. In all of those 10 Ahaṅkāras, what is being expressed, the final layer, what we call it as spiritually identity itself. If you are a sādhaka, try to understand, this is not what you or someone who is doing a sadhana maybe having all these things. Like, I am a sadhaka, I am awakened, I am choosing Guru, or it may be I am choosing mantra, I am choosing paddhati, I am choosing the divine. I am connected to that particular divine the most than anyone else. My connection with Ma is superior than him. My connection with Bhairava is very, very extraordinary than them. I am different from the ordinary people. Who is the ordinary? Our own people around. My family, our own family, my wife, my son, my kid, my neighbors, my boss. Distributing ourselves. I am extraordinary. They are ordinary because I am spiritual, right? Problem is not having this experience or the identity. The problem begins when the experience, what we call it as, becomes another position of one single word. I. So the journey is not necessary. Destroy the ego of what? This particular simple only one. How exactly you will be able to realize this? Do I have any kind of an ego? Recognize. Carefully observe your thoughts. Carefully observe your own patterns. Carefully observe the people around you. Understand. Is there any kind of identity? Or is there any kind of a Ahaṅkāra they are trying to do? They are trying to do Jati Ahaṅkāra. They are trying to showcase something like a great Jnana Ahaṅkāra. Or they are trying to showcase something very, very profound Achara Ahaṅkāra in them. Mantra, Sādhana, Anubhava, all these things. Understand. Loosen all these things. As I told you, only one thing you need to. But how to do that? Surrenderness. Ultimately, even saying I have no ego can become the ego's most sophisticated stage of having the greatest ego. People tell, right? I don't have ego. They are the one who are carrying the highest connection of identity of what we need to drop as I. How to actually overcome all these things? Surrender is what actually is going to help you. So for this, we'll come with one more short information what exactly need to be known when it comes to the Ahaṅkāra. How to drop that I. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But let me just tell you, this entire video, if you are watching till now, all of those Ahaṅkāra, whatever is being said, try to identify, is this is part of any of those? If it is this part of any of those, where exactly I am trying to do mistakes? So with that note, I'll pause, make you to think, sit yourself, just disconnect from whatever it is, pause yourself and think yourself, are you or any one of your own close people are trying to do this? Don't judge, just identify. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tanno Kalabhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanushakti Manashveshini Hingulambikaya Namaha. Namaskaram.